Rainbows are Royalty by Triniary. Chapter 32. Rainbow in the Night. Dum, dum, da da dum, bump, bump. I said in the night, not rainbow in the dark. Blissfully unaware of what had transpired in the library, the party continued on. Rainbow Dash returned to finish her story to the Falls, albeit with less enthusiasm and energy than when she had started it. Afterwards, she just sort of floated through the party, not staying still long enough for any pony to approach her. She watched all the smiling, happy faces as they laughed and played. Pinkie Pie was whooping it up with a white unicorn with an electric blue mane. It looked a lot like shiny armor, Dash mused, wearing giant purple glasses as he operated the record player, blasting loud party music all over town. As he had been elated when the party was thrown for the two royals now.
So, we have two princesses now?
Pinkie said, delight in her eyes.
It means two. Two times fun! The fun's been doubled!
Shiny Armor was holding a cup of punch, trying desperately hard not to laugh as he watched Twilight trying to get into the spirit of things by dancing. And by dancing, Rainbow Dash meant spastically jerking this way and that, shaking her rump with her tongue stuck out of the corner of her mouth that more closely resembled a sheezer than anything recognizable as dancing. Applejack was with her family, serving up a piping hot apple delicacies like pies and fritters. The extended Apple family was about milling with playing with fiddles and performing hoedowns alongside techno-beat pony musicians. Rarity, dressed to perfection, floated through the crowd like a social butterfly she was. Fluttershy was content to keep to herself, away from the thronging crowds and quietly sip at her punch. Dash wanted to go over and talk to one of them, or all of them, but held back. As badly as she wanted to offload her worries, she didn't want to ruin the great time they were having. It wouldn't be fair. Instead, she sighed and slowly flew off to be by herself. But her departure wasn't entirely unnoticed, as she was tracked by a pair of golden, somewhat off-kilter eyes. It was late in the afternoon, and the shadows were stretching themselves out when Rainbow Dash was discovered. She spent the last few hours sitting on a hill overlooking Ponyville, holding her legs close to her chest. Rainbow Dash focused on nothing. She failed to notice when the company arrived behind her. A soft throat clearing alerted her to her presence. Rainbow Dash. The soft voice made Dash's ear twitch in acknowledgement.
Eh?
Rainbow twisted her head around. What do you... You! Her voice became a shout of anger as she saw who was standing behind her. It was Princess Luna, once known as Nightmare Moon. The young Pegasus snorted, pawing at the ground, readying herself for an attack. Princess of the Night lowered her head, flinching away like a frightened foal.
Rainbow Miriam Dash!
Were the presence of an Alicorn Princess and the one-time Nightmare Moon failed to intimidate Dash? The sound of her full name, with that inflection, by that voice, made her tremble.
Does he do?
Rainbow couldn't help but keep a whine for her voice.
Enough with the middle name already! What are you doing here?
With her! She jerked her head at Luna. Ditsy gave Rainbow a certified look that seemed all the more magnified for being focused only out of one eye.
I thought that you two should sit down and talk. From the looks of it, I think you need some company.
But Ditsy! She heard her voice. She was Nightmare Moon. She's the one who took you away from Dinky and turned you into a Shadow Bolt. How can you even trust her?
I know,
the Great Pegasus said gently.
But you said it yourself. She was Nightmare Moon. She's not that pony anymore.
She rested her hoof across Dash's back.
She was so lonely during the party. Dinky went up to her and gave her a hug.
Ditsy beamed.
Dinky's a great jazzy character. Is he like Princess Luna? He must be a nice pony.
She smiled a touch goofily, her argument foolproof.
And she apologized for the whole night lasting forever thing and even gave me a muffin. So, I forgave her.
Rainbow Dash bumped her head on the hoof. Of course you did.
Ditsy nudged her. Come on, give her a chance. I can tell you need to talk to some pony.
Uh-huh. And how do you know I need to talk to her if you don't know what's bothering me? Younger Mare rolled her eyes as Ditsy just grinned at her. Wait, don't tell me it's because you're a mom.
That's right, Ditsy grinned. Now, go on. Be nice.
She nudged her towards Luna.
Do it.
Rainbow Dash grumbled as she let herself be pushed towards the sentient princess. So, hi? She grunted, keeping an eye on Ditsy Do as she backed away, leaving the two of them be.
Well, not Rainbow Dash,
Luna stammered. half turning her away in a very Fluttershy-like gesture. We cannot thank thee enough for saving us from our wicked half, and apologize for all the trouble we caused. We? Rainbow looked at her finally. What, do you have a tapeworm or something? Luna shifted. It is tradition to use the royal we when speaking to our subjects. She paused. Has Celestia never spoken to you thusly? No, she doesn't use any thees, thys, or thous either. Of all the things Rainbow Dash expected to happen, having a grammar lesson with the former Nightmare Moon was not one of them, especially since she was the one giving the lesson. Luna shrank into herself. Oh, we, suppose that much has changed in the last millennium. Guess so, Rainbow said guardedly. I suppose the Royal Canterlot voice is no longer considered proper, Luna asked. Rainbow looked at her. The what now? The Royal Canterlot voice! Luna bellowed. Rainbow Dash felt her hair sit to one side. It is such a lesson of voice used in order to... She stopped when she saw Dash's lips being pulled back from the sheer force of her voice. Too much? Nodding numbly, Rainbow had a strange moment in which she imagined one of the princesses in the old days shouting for more toilet paper in the Royal Canterlot voice. Then she imagined using it in the bedroom when... She forced her brain to shut down mid-thought, pushing that thought back into the back of her mind, digging a hole, burying it, constructing a house to hide the hole, and then throwing the loudest party imaginable in the house in order to obscure any possibility of said thought resurfacing. Shaking her head, Rainbow Dash decided to back the conversation up a bit. So, you're sorry? Luna nodded quickly, almost pathetically, eager to express her apology. It just made the Pegasus' face harden. Sorry for what exactly? Threatening to purge Equestria into everlasting night? Toying with my emotions? Turning my friends into your puppets? Attempting to kill my other friends? Or just sorry in general? Luna swallowed, dipping her head. For everything, though I know words can never mend what I've done. If it is of any consolation, I will be carrying the guilt and scars of my actions far longer than you will. Even so, you have every right to be angry with me. No argument there, Dash grumbled. You and Celestia really are sisters. You even apologize the same way. Alcorn blinked. Celestia? Apologize to you? What for? What for? Dash looked at her way like she was crazy. For tossing all this junk on my back. For not telling me anything about this earlier. Hey, you said it yourself. Sorry, Nightmare Moon said it. She used me like a weapon because she didn't have the guts to! Luna gave to her. You are aware that everything she said, I said, was meant to hurt you. What I said was an amalgamation of half-truths, innuendos, suppositions, and bald-faced lies about my sister, designed to keep you off balance. How can you take any of it seriously? Because Celestia confirmed it herself! Rainbow's wings flared up. She told me so. She knew from the moment that she met me that I would be the one to stop Nightmare Moon, and never said a word! Hey, she even said she didn't want to tell me, because she thought I'd drink out or snap under pressure and abandon her. I would never! She hugged angrily. A sad sigh was Luna's response. Oh, silly, she shook her head, always thinking she knows what's best for everybody. I know, right? Rainbow Dash was so desirous at some point to understand and agree with her, that she forgot a scant few hours before she was prepared to beat the alicorn to exit her to a pulp. You want to know the worst part? Luna asked in a hushed voice. Rainbow nodded eagerly. Slowly, the dark alicorn leaned over and whispered in her companion's ear. The worst part is, she's using her light. Rainbow's jaw dropped. But you, what? A rueful smile crossed Luna's face. I see that even after 1,000 years, Celestia is still Celestia. It's hard to remember that she's lived such a long time, has a lot of experience and seen things no other ponies has. It gives her perspective few ponies can match, and also given her time to mask what she's thinking and feeling most of the time, giving her the appearance that nothing phases her, making everything seem look so effortless, so perfect. Luna sighed. It may be a considerable comfort to most ponies who look to her for strength and stability, while it could be really irritating when exposed to on a daily basis. That prompted a chuckle from Rainbow Dash before she could stop herself. Amen. Luna smiled. While Nightmare Moon was just trying to ensnare you and lure to her side, I think there was some truth when she said you and I had much in common. She waited to ensure Rainbow Dash's full attention. We both deeply love my sister, but we also feel the need to establish ourselves out from under her shadow. Dash nodded. Celestia is so graceful and elegant and smart, and I had to work so hard to get better. She makes everything seem so effortlessly and easy, It's almost as if she's taunting how hard we work to improve ourselves, knowing we can never catch her. But she isn't. It's all in our heads. I wish I had realized that. It might have saved me 1,000 years of loneliness. She sat back getting comfortable. It doesn't help that she isn't used to explaining herself to other ponies, giving the impression that she is aloof and distant. She tends to keep her own counsel. The only pony she ever really confided was. Luna hesitated for a second. Me. Curious and intrigued, Rainbow Dash found herself looking at Luna in a new light. I do not know everything that transpired between the two of you, but I can offer some of my perspectives on Celestia, if you care to listen. Okay. Rainbow was still mad at Celestia, and part of her wanted to stay mad, but another part of her wanted to hear more about her mentor and what made her tick. It's weird to hear you saying Celestia is usually right. I mean, what with... She gestured awkwardly. You would be referring to my 1,000 years banishment, or do you mean her inability to prevent my fall in the first place? Luna queried. Dash shrugged. A little column A, a little column B. Fair enough, she conceded. Celestia is two of the most terrible things in the world. Aruda, our big sister. Luna stared demonstratively, and it wasn't entirely forced. Either one of which can give a pony the notion that they are a goddess, all-knowing and invaluable. It is to Celestia's considerable credit that she has not let those two positions go to her head. Otherwise, she would be completely unbearable. She rolled her eyes and mumbled something under her breath. Rainbow Dash shook her head. Luna couldn't just utter the words alfalfa monster, right? She must have misheard her, clearly. Rainbow Dash cleared her throat. So, anyway, what about Celestia? Oh, yes, right. Luna shook her head. Bring yourself back to the here and now. You have to remember that as much as Celestia cares for you or I, at the end of the day, she is responsible for the well-being of all Equestria. She is often called upon to make tough choices, ones that often pain her far more than you would expect. Luna closed her eyes. My descent into anger and madness hurt her deeply, just as her actions hurt you. A wise pony once said that there can be no great pain without great love. Celestia was hurt twice, first by my fall, and secondly, by a descent into me. She went to Rainbow Dash. With the presence of Nightmare Moon gone, I can say that Celestia made the right decision, however much it hurt me. Dash was surprised. How can you say that? Because the fate of Equestria was at stake, Luna replied. No matter how much it hurt her, she had to put Equestria ahead of her own wants and ahead of our sisterhood. Blood may be thicker than water, but right and wrong is thicker than blood. She shifted, getting comfortable. Luna was in an impossible position, one that I think you can relate to. Her loyalty threatened to divide her in twain. Her loyalty to me on one hoof, and to Equestria on the other. Being put in that decision, being made to make that sort of choice, it would destroy a lesser pony. Luna shut her eyes. Was this why Nightmare Moon intended to put you in such a place, back at the castle? Rainbow Dash flinched, giving the princess the old steak eye. I notice, she bit out sharply. Luna opened her eyes and went slightly before hurrying on. I merely attempted to illustrate the depths of my sister's dilemma, or rather, dilemmas, past and present. She had to choose between the fate of a single pony, one she cared deeply for, and the fate of all Equestria. You, Nightmare Moon, I mean, did put me in a position to choose between my wants and Equestria. Then again, between which of my friends to save. She narrowed her eyes. You'll notice I didn't choose to sacrifice any of them. Then you are fortunate, Luna rumbled. Sometimes, making sacrifices is unavoidable. Rainbow Dash set her face. I will never sacrifice my friends! Even if Equestria hung in the balance, the Pegasus stomped her hoof. I'd find a way to save them both! Luna sighed, half weary and half hardened by the Pegasus fervor. You are young. You don't understand. Sometimes the needs of the few must be sacrificed to safeguard the needs of the many. Don't go bringing my age into this! Rainbow tossed her head. If you're trying to say that just because I'm young, I don't know what I'm talking about, what does it say about you, the second oldest pony in Equestria, and you made the worst mistake any pony could make? So much for wisdom equaling age. Luna was taken a bit by that, both her fervor and free tongue. Watch yourself, the princess warned. You are not my student, and as grateful as I am to you, I will not tolerate your rudeness as easily as my sister. Dash flinched but rallied. Then don't be rude to me and try to brush off what I'm saying is just the words of a little filly who doesn't know any better. She housed before taking a breath to cool off a bit. You think I never heard that whole the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few thing before? Yeah, I have! She flexed her wings. One of the things Celestia taught me was about ethics and morality and stuff. She had me read a lot. Most of it was just plain confusing. Luna nodded, showing she was listening. But here's my take. That thing about sacrificing the few for the sake of the many is that if you keep it up for too long, the many become the few, and then the one, and then none. She looked up firmly at the ancient alicorn sitting next to her. I'm not saying that sacrifices aren't necessary sometimes, and if my friends or equestrian need me, I'll be right there ready to sign up for anything. But making sacrifices of ponies without their consent, without their knowledge, that's where I draw the line. The princess gave a soft smile. It's been a long time since some pony sat down to argue ethics with a princess. Hey, I'm no philosopher, Rainbow stuck out her tongue. Way too lame. It's just, I don't know, common sense. I mean, if you want some pony to do something, shouldn't you just tell them? If Celestia had come up to me and said, there's this evil freaky mare trapped in the moon and I need you to stop her, I would have said yes! Luna looked at her sideways. Would you? Rainbow Dash had the presence of mind to look sheepish. Well, I might insist that she lay out the high desire first. But I would have said yes. I would do anything Celestia wanted me to, so long as it didn't involve boring parties or frilly dresses. But if it was important, I'd always be there for her. She amended. I owe her so much. Dash sighed, furling her wings back to her sides again. I trusted her, and she didn't trust me. She had to go behind my back because she didn't think she could count on me. The raw hurt in her voice was enough to make even the normally reserved Princess Luna want to wrap the mare in a hug. If it's any consolation, I think you could blame me for keeping things to herself, she said, giving Rainbow Dash an encouraging smile. Celestia and I were always close, as you might expect. Perhaps it's that closeness that kept her from seeing what I was becoming. A frown crossed her face. My anger and bitterness became like an addiction. I enjoyed the sensation of being angry. You don't know how alluring it is to be mad, to be invigorating, to be so sure that you're right and every pony else is wrong. It makes you feel big, like you can let all your inner restrictions and inhibitions go and do whatever you wish. I was literally drunk on my anger. She shook her head. But Celestia's trust in me was so absolute that she refused to see what I was becoming, right under her very nose, until it was too late. Rainbow Dash didn't fall and said as much. So, she prodded, what's that got to do with her and me? This is just guesswork, but I believe my turn made it hard for Celestia to trust us fully and completely as she once did. Luna explained. I think that she felt she could not take a risk in telling you what was in store for you, even if she's totally convinced in your readiness to serve. Celestia might have known that Rainbow Dash would never let her or the Equestria down, but Princess Celestia, ruler of Equestria, could not take a chance that you might say no, or be resentful of the task laid down for you. Not all of Equestria hanging in the balance. After all, she smoothed risingly, if her sister could become a creature of darkness, then how could she take a chance, however slim, that you might not be up to the task of top a nightmare moon? You're saying that Celestia didn't trust me enough because she trusted you 2 months 1,000 years ago? Rainbow Dash raised her eyebrow. I'll just sympathetic, but yes, Luna confirmed. Rainbow sighed. So you're telling me I should forgive her, right? But the princess surprised her. No. The princess spun her hand around so fast she almost gave herself a blast. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with what my sister did regarding you, nor can I determine whether or not your anger with Celestia is justified. I do not know enough to render such a judgment, she added. It is, in any event, not my place. I merely offered to give you some insight into what might have been behind Celestia's actions. The only thing I know for certain is that my sister cares for you very deeply, that my return will not change that. I am not your replacement, nor your rival. Okay, shifting slightly. Rainbow Dash bit her lip. Can we talk about something else now? Her voice cracked slightly. All right. Luna agreed. She paused for a moment and thought. Does Celestia, still enjoy her practical jokes? Dash snorted. You kidding? She's like the queen of pranks. Luna pouted. All of you notice he used to be my Titan. Not for want of trying on my sister's part. What's he done? Well, this one time I had a resisted for the Graphic Ambassador. So the stars came out. The 2 ponies swapped stories of Celestia and her irresponsible idiot quirks, giggling to themselves as they found out things about Celestia neither had known before tonight, as well as retelling a few of their own favorite stories about her. Is he fed for the would-be closer on the throne, chick? Luna laughed. Again? Rainbow hugged her side. Yeah, I didn't even know you had would-be coasters 1,000 years ago. We make do. Luna said with tons of pride. I think he was just grateful that it was a would-be coaster that time. As he never did know when to turn down a mushroom and bean salad. You mean... Rainbow tried to bite down a giggle. She flipped on her back and kicked her legs. Luna joined her on lowing the grass, looking up at the night. When Dance's giggles finally subsided, she turned her head to look at Luna. Heh, you alright, you know that? Luna turned her head away, suddenly embarrassed. Thank you. I must confess I find your forgiveness of me to be very sudden. I'm not sure you had done anything to warrant it. You haven't. Dance pointed out with her typical bluntness, causing Luna to blink callously. To tea and my friends, well, I guess they're a bit more free with forgiveness and friendship than I am. As for me, I think unless you work for it and prove you deserve it, forgiveness is meaningless. So, no, I haven't completely forgiven you. Yet. Sia said, with a small wry face. But keep doing what you're doing and, not be Nightmare Moon for a bit. We'll be cool. I agreed. Your terms almost agreeable. I accept. Cool! Rainbow dazzled back up at the night sky. There was another silence between them. Say, princess. Yes, Rainbow Doss. I don't know if any pony's told you this lately, but the sky at night, with the moon and stuff, it's really cool. The Giant Pegasus mumbled awkwardly. I like flying at night. Luna sniffled, wiping a tear from her eye. Thank you, Rainbow Dash. That was most kind of you to say. A smile spread across her face. Please, call me Luna. Am I to add that your flying was truly remarkable? She added, the best I've ever seen. Thanks. Rainbow smiled. The 2 ponies, one ancient and withdrawn, the other young and brass, turned back to watch the stars.